kicking off the new week with a massive sell-off today on escalating worries about a global trade war. The Dow tumbling 368 points, the Nasdaq down 160. That's after a late session rebound even. That's after the White House dismissed reports that the administration's getting ready to limit Chinese investments in U.S. tech firms. Now, despite today's losses, a lot of those big firms are still doing pretty well. Flush with cash from higher profits and those corporate tax giveaways, big U.S. companies spent a record amount of money buying back their own shares this year, nearly $190 billion worth of stock in just the first quarter. Wells Fargo trying to win back customers to the bank with new rewards for credit card users. 3 points for every dollar spent at restaurants, on travel, or even services like Netflix. And Overstock.com is now collecting sales tax from out-of-state customers following that U.S. Supreme Court decision from last week. I'm Tom Busby, CNBC.
Grainger stands for safety, and they know what safety stands for. S, safety. A, all about safety. F, feeling good about safety. E, extreme safety. T, talking about safety. Y, you guessed it, safety. First aid kits, eye wash stations, fire protection, you name it. For over 90 years, they've been helping to keep facilities safe and people safer. When it comes to safety, Grainger's got your BACK. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Life's never perfect, but as realtors, we know living it in the perfect place can make a big difference. Imagine hiding from your screeching children in that spacious walk-in closet, watching the neighbor's dog poop on the freshly sodded grass you negotiated during closing, dropping your cell phone in the toilet of the spa-like 5-piece bathroom again. So get the perfect place to house all of life's imperfections. Get Realtor. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. The president says he doesn't want to see children separated from their migrant parents. Today at the White House, Trump said he's pleased with the executive order he signed last week, which ends the separation of migrant children from their parents at the U.S.-Mexico border. Trump is calling out Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Randy Fuller has those details.
In a tweet today, Trump said the California Democrat has, quote, an extraordinarily low IQ. He accused Waters of encouraging harm to his supporters and said, quote, be careful what you wish for, Max. Waters called on people to publicly push back at Trump administration officials after Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked to leave a Virginia restaurant over the weekend. House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi rebuked Waters and tweeted that Democrats should rise above the tone set by what she called President Trump's daily lack of civility. Randy Fuller, NBC News Radio.
A Wisconsin Democratic congressman plans to propose legislation that gets rid of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, also known as ICE. Congressman Mark Pocan says his legislation comes after his recent trip to the southern border last week, where he said it became clear the agency can no longer accomplish its goals effectively. The family of an innocent Bronx teenager is speaking out about his brutal death. 15-year-old Lisandro Guzman Felice's mother, Lisandra Felice, said she wants justice for her son, who was killed by gang members who mistook him for someone else.
That they should get what they deserve. That's what I want to say.
Felice said she wants her son to be remembered as a good, sweet kid. The FBI director and deputy attorney general are set to testify before the House Judiciary Committee this week. Director Christopher Wray and Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein will be grilled by the House committee on Thursday over the FBI's handling of the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email use. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
If you or a loved one was seriously injured in an accident with a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler truck, you need to act fast. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454. Truck accident cases are different than an auto versus auto accident. There are so many more issues involved when dealing with a truck accident case. There are federal regulations and state regulations, several different companies that may be involved. I can immediately gather the evidence, get you the medical care you need with no deductible and no copay to you, and get you the compensation and the money you deserve for your injuries. And if there's no recovery, there's no fees charged to you. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454.
KCAA where every day is a great day. And now, it's For the People with Judge Herb Dodell.
Love the music, actually, every time I hear it. Well, welcome back. You know, the object of the show has been to be somewhat diverse, to talk about different subjects, some of which are informational, some of which are spiritual, some of which are guidelines and guidance for people to deal with when they're caught up in the system. And the stories, all of which are true, all the cases that are true, are really illustrations, because I keep saying this, and I want to say it again. If it happened to somebody else, it could happen to you. And so if you can relate to any of these stories, you say, so, well, you know, that could be me. What do I do? And being prepared in advance is a tremendous advantage. Number one, it reduces the stress that you have. And number two, the unexpected is more expected. So it's not so frightening to people. So that's what we do. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about like current events. You know what's going on. We started with Stormy Daniels, and we've gone through Cohen and a variety of other things. And I'm very responsive to people's comments. Somebody called me about an hour ago, actually, said, what do you think Manafort's chances are that he's going to get out of jail? And I said, buy a scratcher. And, actually, you got a better shot with the scratcher. You could at least win $5 or something.
Yeah.
This guy got two chances of winning this one. None and Slim.
Slim's already left the building, huh,
And
Judge?
Slim is gone. I mean, there's a cardinal rule for all of you who will get involved in litigation. Always remember this. In appeals, the general tendency for the appellate court is to pretty much affirm what's done by the court below, especially in the federal system.
Yeah.
You have a federal judge making a decision and providing a tremendous amount of factual support for her decision. The chances that the Court of Appeals with 3 judges or justices, or the judges in the federal system, are going to reverse that are non-existent.
Well, he's in jail right now because he I guess he supposedly tampered with a witness or was talking to witnesses and things like that. Is that correct? I mean,
yeah, that's on the scale of 1 to 10 being smart, being 10. He was -1.
I mean,
because it's a stupid thing to do, to contact a witness and try to talk to them. I mean, and you know it's a condition of your probation that you don't do that.
I mean,
and that, you know what that really represents to me?
Stupidity?
No.
Arrogance.
It represents that you're not going to get me. I'm special.
Right.
Anyway, to get past all of that, today I decided what I was going to do is I want to talk about the practicality of a litigation. For those people who are about to become involved as a litigant, on one side or the other, you want to know what you can expect.
Okay.
Unless you're a lawyer or you have experience in the litigation world, all of the language that's used and things like that are going to be strange to you. So what we want to do is make it less strange for you. And when it comes down to it, I should mention, I talk a lot about the law. There's 2 types of the law. One is procedural. In other words, how does it work? And the other is substantive, is what is the law? And what applies to the procedures that go through. And these can be very, very complicated.
Yes.
And I'm talking about California law or federal law, because I can do both.
Right.
Or even New York law, because I'm licensed in New York as well.
You're everywhere, Judge.
I was going to. There's an old quote, but I'm not going to use it on here. I don't want to chase off the religious people, you know.
Praise Jesus.
That wasn't the one I was thinking about.
Oh, okay.
But on the other hand, what I want to say is that when I talk about legal procedures or substantive issues, for the most part, general law is applicable across the country. There are going to be variances and nuances. Procedurally, there's going to be different requirements. Things will apply in some states and won't apply in others. And you may be required to do certain things in some states and not in others. And the law, the substantive law, may be very different as well.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, do not take what I tell you as gospel. So we're getting to the religious thing, you know. You shouldn't take it as gospel.
Preach, Judge, preach. Do it, brother. brother Dodell. Brother Judge Dodell. Do it, brother.
You bring a smile to my face every week, Gary, I tell you. And it's not easy to get a big fat smile out of me, but I got one here right now.
I'm glad.
Funny.
Thank you.
Anyway, so what I suggest to you is that you think about talking to a local lawyer if you have a legal issue. Generally, you're not going to get involved too much in procedural things because that's a how-to-do-it thing. And you could probably learn how to do it by going online. But I found going online is very good if you're looking for just something on the surface.
Right.
But if you're looking for anything that's off the beaten track or is not in the ordinary, you're probably not going to find it. You're not going to know how to look for it.
Isn't every case like different too? There's always different.
Sure.
I mean, there's not just one case for one type of particular crime or civil suit. There is.
There is.
There is, really?
There is, yeah. Most of the time we call a case being distinguished.
Okay.
We talked about it a couple of weeks ago when you asked me if something was a narrow decision.
Yeah.
A narrow decision basically is going to be limited to the facts. And if the facts are different in another case, and you can find some kind of nuance. That's what good lawyering is all about, actually. Find something to distinguish your case from one that's going against you, and vice versa if you're on the other side. So you need to look into procedural things before you embark on them, because there are penalties for not doing things on time. In fact, I will talk about something called a default.
A default.
A default.
That's a civil case.
That's a civil case.
Okay.
Well, I suppose a default in a criminal case gets you in jail.
Right. You don't show
up. that's a different default.
Judge, I'm going to default. I'm going to go to Mexico.
It's easier to go to Mexico than to come in from Mexico, I'll tell you that.
I guess so. Huh?
Well, the bottom line is, if you default, does it mean it's the end of the day for you? Maybe not. In California, for example, we have a provision called 473 that allows you to petition the court to set aside a default on the grounds that either your lawyer screwed it up, which happens, or you were never properly served, or things of that nature.
You didn't know about it.
You can petition the court, and if you can satisfy the court, they'll set aside that default, and you start all over again. But that's you're seeking relief, and you can't do this as a lay person on your own, generally. You could probably do all of it on your own if you wanted to spend all the time and take the chances of missing a point. Now, for example, filing a notice of appeal, that's jurisdictional. No court's going to help you for that one. If you wait 61 days and the statute requires an appeal within 60 days, which is the general rule, you're done. You're absolutely done. There's no, I'm sorry, I missed it, the dog ate the homework, whatever it is. You're not going anywhere with that.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do is to make this like litigation 101 today.
Okay.
Informational.
Is this going to be civil or criminal or both?
I'm going to do what I decided I was going to do is I'm going to do today civil.
Okay.
And as complicated as it can get. And then we'll do criminal on another occasion.
Cool.
Because the rules are very, very different.
Yes, they are.
Burdens of proof, number one, is the major difference. And two, discovery, meaning getting documents and testimony, is a very, very different issue.
Depositions.
There are no depositions in criminal cases.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You know, in civil there are. That's what
there are. In fact, I was talking to somebody not too long ago when there's a parallel civil and criminal case going on at the same time, which is what I was doing for many years. Insurance claims where the insurance company alleges that either the insured burned it down or committed fraud by exaggerating the amount of the claim, things like that. Those are sometimes very difficult issues to walk between the two of them. They're parallel. But if you have a civil case going and you want to find out what the prosecution has, keep the civil case going, take depositions.
Yeah.
They're usable.
Right.
They're usable. The only thing you don't want to do is put your own client in a position where they have to be deposed because you don't want them to be deposed.
AKA Bill Cosby.
AKA many people who find, and I think I told the story. I had a client who gave an examination under oath to his insurance company long before I was involved. And as soon as we get done with the break, I'll tell you what happened. Great case.
Cool.
Great case.
All right, listen, it's Judge Herb Dodell. It's For the People with Judge Herb Dodell. If you want to ask the judge any questions, you can hit him up at askjudgeherb@gmail.com, and the judge will be right back with litigation. Correct?
Yes, this is correct.
Thank you. Okay.
1050 AM KCAA.
Herb Dodell is a lawyer and a judge for the people. Having served as a Superior Court judge, presiding over more than 9,000 cases, he has witnessed firsthand how complicated and corrupt the legal system can be. His goal is to show how things really work in the legal system so that people can navigate the legal system in the best way for them. Many people often feel marginalized by the legal system and are uninformed about how to proceed when unfortunate circumstances arise in their life. Judge Herb will pull back the curtain, lift the veil, so people can truly understand their rights, have access to top legal personnel that they can trust, and have knowledge about how things work so they can make better choices. Judge Herb isn't just knowledgeable. His integrity and spiritual values are truly what make him different. He cares about democratizing access and information for all and desires to turn on the light so the people, you, can benefit. For more information, email the judge at askjudgeherb@gmail.com. That's askjudgeherb@gmail.com.
So this guy had been accused of arson and insurance fraud after he gave the examination under oath to the insurance company. What happens in the real world, and this is really the way it works, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you, the insurance company is going to want to help the prosecution prosecute to a guilty verdict. Because if they get a guilty verdict, they don't pay the claim. And if they pay anything, they got a shot at getting it back. So what they do is they use their prosecutorial, non-legal prosecutorial techniques, lawyers, special investigators, and whatever it is, to find out as much as they can. And what do? They turn it over to the prosecution. Usually it's not a prosecution yet. They turn it over to some law enforcement person who's going to push for prosecution. Many of them belong to the same clubs together. They used to be an organization, something about the Blue Goose or something like. They all used to belong to that same thing. I can imagine him sitting, at the Elks Hall, sitting on Saturday drinking beer. This is the group.
Yeah.
And so my client had given an examination under oath before I was engaged.
Is this Is it before the criminal trial?
Before the criminal case was filed.
Before they filed the criminal.
Sure, they were going to use what they got out of him.
Right.
To encourage the criminal case, and that's exactly what they did.
Sort of parallels the Bill Cosby case in a way.
In a way, and the bottom line was, even if you don't testify at the trial in a criminal case, that statement comes in, and it's worse. You know why it's worse? You have nothing to respond to.
Yeah, it's
you
there.
Can't. It's whatever you said.
It's under oath, right?
And absolutely under oath. And if you don't have a lawyer there, you're a fool. Any examination under oath, you should have somebody representing you to make sure that they don't make the kind of record that's going to come back and haunt you. And so
Let me ask
you don't want to talk about, you don't want to give him whatever you're going to give him.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, if your client takes a deposition and then they file criminal charges that happened to you in this case, and of course Cosby, is there a way to keep that deposition out?
You could. It's not a deposition. It's an examination under oath. It's very much like a deposition.
Well, I mean,
it's taken in an insurance context. Is there a way to keep it out? The smart thing to do, if you're anticipating some possibility, number one, you advise them not to do the examination. And there's case law in California, I can't speak for other jurisdictions, that say if there is a potential of a criminal case right down the road, you can defer the taking of the deposition or the examination of the policyholder.
Which means what?
Well, you're just sitting on the sidelines and wait till the criminal case is over.
Okay.
The civil case may go along. You may be able, if you're good enough at it, be able to do other discovery that is not going to be precluded anywhere and take depositions of like the arson investigator or somebody like that. you end up in a dance with the other side. They're going to try to prevent that from happening.
I thought you had to take a deposition when you're called upon to take one, or
If you're
examination.
subpoenaed, well, examination under oath is based on the policy language.
Okay.
It says so in the policy that you agree to do that, and it's a condition to them paying the claim. It's known as the duty to cooperate clause.
So
if
this
you
is
don't cooperate. You don't cooperate. You lose your claim.
So this is sort of different. An insurance claim is different than like a criminal claim, I guess, or criminal charges or sexual harassment charges, the civil type of thing there.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of similarities.
Right.
With insurance fraud claims and arson claims, it's a little different because there is a parallel criminal offense. Insurance fraud is a felony. So is arson. And so there is a parallel procedure that's going on. The smart thing to do is have a lawyer negotiate an agreement, which is, well, I'm going to get to Cosby now, actually. The smart thing to do is to say, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll let you take his deposition, but you can't, it's got to be sealed. Can't be turned over to anybody. But there's a problem with that. California Insurance Code, Section 1875, says that law enforcement could write a letter to the insurance company and ask them to produce everything that they have. And the insurance company is obligated by law to give them everything that they have. So if they say is, oh, we weren't trying to prosecute your client, oh, we just wanted to cooperate with the government. They said, give us what you got. So we did that. We're not bad guys. But the reality is they're bad guys. That's what they're doing. They're planning on giving it to they're planning on giving it, and they're going to use this argument that there's a code section that requires them to do it as a basis. But that's what lawyering is about. You can show that they do it all the time. What does that mean? Well, if they do it all the time, it wasn't just a response to this particular one request for information. It's all about that. So you can negotiate something. I'm not so sure it would stick.
Yeah.
And that's what Cosby's appeal is about. Cosby's appeal is they told him it was never going to be used. He wouldn't have given the statement if he had known they were going to use it. And his lawyer, whoever he or she may have been, I don't know who it was, made a bad choice. In my view, made a bad choice. Because the best thing to have done then was say, I'm not giving you a statement at all.
Right.
When the statute runs out, talk to me. But as long as the statute's live and an action can be brought, I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I think in that case they said they made a deal that they said that they would keep it out of any criminal proceeding, and then they turned around and used it.
Well, that's exactly the point. Lawyers you can believe in the tooth fairy if you like. The fact of the matter is, no really experienced quality lawyer would have ever let him make any statements until the statute ran out.
Yeah.
But he's got a shot if he could prove, as I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, if he could prove that he relied, it's called an estoppel. He can prove that they promised him that they were never going to use it, no matter what it is that he said. I still can't imagine why he would have done it anyway, but whatever the reason, he did it.
Yeah.
And it didn't stick. Some judge went out and said, you know what, I'm going to make it public. What are you going to do, jump up and down and scream and claim, yeah, but you promised me. Well, you know what, that judge was a federal judge, I believe, said, I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to just do it the way it is. And so he got stuck.
Yeah. He's going to jail, it sounds like.
I'm not so sure he's going to go to jail.
You don't think so?
We went through this dialogue when we talked about the Cosby case, when we talked to
Scott Ross.
Scott Ross.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue that's still hanging out there. I think he's got a shot at an appeal. I really do.
Yeah.
If the record supports it, I don't know what the record looks like.
Yeah.
But if he can prove that there was a statement made to him upon which he relied to his detriment, I think he's got a fighting shot. What's his fighting shot? A new trial.
Yeah.
A new trial where that doesn't get in. Would the result be any different? I don't know. At this point, there's been so much publicity. People don't realize it, but many cases are tried in the press.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely tried in the press. That's what this guy's doing with Stormy Daniels. I don't know, he's finding things to make people interested, because to me, it's not very interesting.
What's going on with that anyways? They were going to...
Nothing.
Nothing, right?
The case has no value to me as an evaluator. I don't think it's going anywhere anyway. But the bottom line is, you try the cases in the press. You keep on getting interviews and making statements or whatever. Gloria's really good at that.
Gloria Allred.
She's good at that.
Oh yeah, she's great at it.
She tries to. By the time the case is over, you've heard the case from her.
Yeah.
But that's good lawyering.
Yeah, she's a good lawyer.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with some of the tactics, but then again, everybody has their own style.
Yeah.
She's been doing it for a long time, and she's done well at it. So who am I to criticize? I'm not going to criticize her. 'Cause
Right.
I have nothing really to criticize her about. But the fact of the matter is, you got to be smart enough to try your case in the press if you can. You want to present your case. In fact, I think what I'm going to do, I want to talk to you about it, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I think maybe I'm going to give the audience a real case, a real, honest-to-goodness, ongoing case. I'll change the names and things like that so that it won't be recognizable. But and then ask the audience, what do they think? Should this begin?
Is this your case?
I'll pick a case.
Pick a case?
Yeah, I'll pick a case. Not a case that I've been on the judge on, because that would be improper. I can't talk about cases in which I'm involved until all the appeal rights are gone.
Right.
I can't comment on any cases, and I don't. But if we give him a real case and say, okay, should this evidence get in? Let me know what you think. Should that evidence get in? No. Yes. Why? People will get educated. It's like taking litigation 101. So we're going to go back to litigation 101, which means we're going to start from the beginning. And here it is.
Do it.
Okay. You're going to be in a lawsuit. Either you're suing somebody because they wronged you. We'll stick with contract cases for the moment. And or you got sued by somebody and you didn't do anything wrong in your view. Now what? How's it all start? Well, it all starts with something called a complaint. A complaint basically consists of three elements. It's a statement of the facts. It's a statement of the positions of the parties, like the defendant is a resident of Chicago and the plaintiff is a resident of wherever it is. And that's called establishing the jurisdiction. You have to have that in a complaint. Otherwise, it's defective. And I'll talk to you about defective complaints in a minute. But the first part is basically on such and such a date, this is what happened. We had an agreement, the copy of which is attached. Generally, when you have a contract case dealing with a written agreement, you attach a copy of the agreement for the judge to read. Now he or she knows what the case is about. That's the basic premise of a complaint. And you include not only the facts, but anything else you could squeeze in there that's going to somehow influence the reader. And the second part is basically what they call causes of action. Let's say you're suing for breach of contract. The first cause of action is breach of contract. You lay out the elements of what a contract is, and you lay out there was a breach by the other side, and you lay out that there were damages and things like that. That's called the pleading of causes of action. And the last part is generally it's called a prayer. Sometimes that's about all you got. And the prayer is basically, as a result of the conduct of the defendants, I've been damaged in the amount of X dollars. And so you hear people, I just sued him for $50 million on a $12 case.
Right.
You know, putting a number in there means zero.
Yeah.
There are certain jurisdictions that require you to put in a minimum damages of at least $25,000. Now in California, there are various grades of lawsuits. Now, for one small claims, which we've talked about before,
yeah,
that goes up to, in California, $10,000.
Which I got sued for.
Baldy the Clown.
Baldy the Clown.
And so, Baldy the Clown. And the reality is, those are pretty simple. You don't even have pleadings. A complaint is called a pleading.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, a pleading, like you're pleading for somebody.
Right.
And so you don't really have that. You have a claim, which is one page. It doesn't have any of those elements in it. Although it does say what the damages are, so you can tell the other side what you're suing them for and the basis for what you're suing them for. That's the simplest one. No lawyers required. Very little you can do in the way of a technical argument that the complaint is insufficient. That's not going many places.
Yeah.
Second, in California, up to $25,000 is a secondary level, And we'll talk about that one right after the music plays.
All right, it's For the People with Judge Herb Dodell. You can get his book, From the Trench to the Bench. It's available on Amazon.com. And also, if you want to ask the judge a question, if you have a question for the judge, he's available. He'll answer them. Email him, askjudgeherb@gmail.com. We'll be back with more with the judge right after these important messages.
NBC Talk Radio, 1050 AM, KCAA.
In his book, From the Trench to the Bench, Judge Herb Dodell demystifies the legal system, including both civil and criminal, the lawyers, the judges, and the process. As a judge, former deputy district attorney, and criminal defense attorney, he knows the legal system. He has the inside information that you need to pick a lawyer, and he's here to give it to you. No matter what you're facing that makes you think you may need a lawyer, Judge Herb will shed valuable light on your situation and reveal your best options and many secrets of how the judicial system actually works. To find out more about how the legal system really works, you can get your copy of Judge Herb Dodell's eye-opening book, From the Trench to the Bench, at Amazon.com.
Okay, so we're talking about lawsuits, civil lawsuits at the moment. And you should know you don't need a lawyer to file any lawsuits. You can do it yourself. Unless you're a corporation, you can't do that.
Even a big one? Like you can file $50 million?
$100 million.
Really?
Any number you want. You can do it yourself, as long as you're a person, a real person, not a corporation.
Okay.
Corporations must be represented by legal counsel who are licensed. And if you want to bring in a lawyer from another state, people say, well, my lawyer is in Chicago, and this case was going to be in L.A. What do I do? Well, we have something called pro hoc vice. That means, I love that term.
Pro hoc vice.
Pro hoc vice. I'm pro hoc vice in several states.
You are?
Yeah, I am.
I know.
I'm in Arizona, pro hoc vice. I'm even admitted in Hawaii, pro hoc vice.
Aloha, Judge. Aloha.
That was a nice day. I got sworn in there in 15 minutes. I was done with the case.
Nice.
It was interesting. But you can bring a lawyer in from out of state as long as that lawyer has what's called local counsel. In other words, you get somebody out of the phone book. It doesn't make any difference.
Right.
It's just somebody with a license that agrees to receive notices. That's pretty much all.
Do they sit in with you too on the trial? Or no?
They don't have to.
Okay, they don't have to. Right.
Unless somebody's really going to push the envelope and say, "Well, you're pro hoc vice. You have to have somebody else." I guess you could.
Okay.
It depends on what kind of case you have.
I dig
But
it.
the number doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Number is just a number.
So I can sue somebody for $1 million. It wouldn't matter.
Absolutely. And if you want to look at things from a strategic standpoint, let's assume that you want to hit somebody for a big number like that, and you know they're going to avoid it. They're going to disappear. They're not going to answer, and you're going to get a default. You could win that case with a default.
Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say I filed a lawsuit for $1 million on a certain radio personality that I should have done years ago, and he's in New York.
Yeah, I know where he is.
What would happen? Let's just say I did. Let's just say 10 years ago I did this.
Well, first of all, you have to watch for statute of limitations.
Okay, well, it's over. Let's just say it happened it was
within the statute.
It was within the statute, and I was like upset, and they didn't pay me, and they took my idea.
Upset doesn't matter in a contract.
No, I'm just saying, no, I know, but they didn't pay me, and I went back and forth. I wanted to just file a lawsuit, regardless.
Okay, yeah.
Over $1 million, what would happen? Like if I filed here in Los Angeles, would I have to file in Los Angeles, or if he's in New York, do I have to go to New York, or how does it all work?
Okay, well,
Curious.
I think we talked about this last week. What's called the long arm statute.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think we did. I don't know.
The long arm statute is, and I looked it up. I hadn't looked at it since I was in law school.
Wow.
But I found it was still there. It was on a tablet of some kind,
Yeah.
The stone tablets. It was before the regular tablets. Old law. Yeah, under certain circumstances, if the conduct took place here in California, or you could prove that some of the conduct took place here in California, the contract was negotiated here, money was paid here, there were communications with you here, things of that nature, you can sue that person and serve them in New York. And they would have to respond to the California action. What happens from a technical standpoint, and I try not to get too technical on the show, from a technical standpoint, somebody argues the lack of jurisdiction, or venue is a better term for it. They could argue that there's an inconvenience. It's called forum non-conveniens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the legal term for it. I throw these legal terms out every now and again to show you I do remember some of them.
That's cool.
And legal non-convenience. And it's up to the court to decide whether or not they send it back to New York. Not back to New York, send it to New York, because that's the appropriate place. All the witnesses there. It's a weighing, balancing act as to where it's going to go or not.
Okay.
And there's also a possibility, and this one is called diversity of citizenship. It's a federal concept. And diversity of citizenship says, and again, I'm just taking the very, very elementary, simple definitions. I don't want to get into all the complexities of it.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, one party is a resident or domiciliary, that's what they call it, of another state from you. And so therefore you have diversity of the two states. And generally, if the amount involved in the case meets a certain minimum threshold, that case ends up in federal court. And I will tell you, and I must admit that I'm prejudiced. I don't like federal court.
Why?
I've never liked federal court.
Why don't you? Too strict?
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Too rigid.
Yeah.
And there's so many things to do that you have to do that I don't think are necessarily that important, but you have to do it. You have to have a joint pretrial conference statement, and you can spend weeks preparing some of that stuff. And you get a shorter jury. You get no voir dire. Voir dire meaning you get a chance to question jurors as to who they are, what they do. They work at Walmarts. Oh, yeah. That voir dire is very important.
No, I know.
I used to think it was more important than it is in reality, because now it's Forrest Gump, you know. You got somebody sitting there, you have no clue. They work for Walmart, and they're looking at their clock to get out of there. There were so many different factors in the selection of a jury. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here with the pleadings and things.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, you might be able to do it. You got a personality that flies back and forth here, is here often enough. Show is distributed here.
Yeah.
You might have enough what they call contacts.
Damn.
The old case used to be called the International Shoe Case. For those of you who are interested in looking it up, it's something that you probably should if you're interested in jurisdictions. It basically decides where cases should be tried. And one of the things you put in your pleading, your complaint, is why this case should be heard here in Southern California or wherever it is that you want to try it. So that's called the pleading stage.
I wish I would have known you 10 years ago, Judge. Who knows what could have happened?
Would it have been as much fun? I don't know about that.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
10 years ago, I was practicing full-time.
I'm just saying, I could have used you.
But I got to tell you, I'm a different guy than I was.
I know. Well,
when I was practicing full-time, I was an incredibly aggressive lawyer. I mean, you didn't want to be on the other side of me. I was not terrific.
That's why I want you. That's why I want you. That's why I would have loved to have you.
But I got more mellow as the years went by.
We all do.
Yeah. I started to talk to people with a little respect and dignity. And then I joined, I don't know how long I've been a member of ABOTA, the American Board of Trial Advocates, but that's a professional organization that you get invited to. And the concept of the organization, which really consists of the best, is civility. You know, we each treat each other with tremendous respect and dignity, whether we don't like you, whether we're opposite to you in a big case, so you have a lot to. For us, it's all about being civil to each other. And so many times you have conversations with people in a social context that are very, very nice, and then you're in a courtroom and you're yelling and screaming at each other. So it's just the way it works.
Right.
But now you got a pleading, okay?
Okay.
The other side has to be served with that pleading. Service means either handed to that person or something done called substituted service. Substituted service is you can't get a hold of the person. They're dodging you or whatever, but you know where they live and you know who's living with them. So you have your process server, and it's always wiser to use a process server.
The sheriff's department is good
Yeah,
here.
or you can use private individuals. If they have a license, there's a presumption. A presumption means you have to assume that this is the way it is. There's a presumption that service is proper. Anybody can serve a complaint as long as it's not you, as long as they're 18 years old or more,
Okay.
and not a party to the action.
Okay.
That's the rules.
Right.
So now you serve them, either personal service, substituted service. In unlawful detainers, there's another form of service, which we don't have to get into now. And they have a certain period of time to respond. So what does a response mean? You just got served. Somebody just showed up. You're watching a football game. The doorbell rings. You open it up. A guy hands you this summons and complaint. A summons is basically just the front page of the complaint telling you were being summoned, not physically summoned.
No, I know.
You're being summoned in connection with this particular case, and here's what it's about. So you usually have, in California, you have 30 days. There's sometimes extensions.
To what?
of
To
time
answer it? To answer the complaint?
To respond.
To respond to the
I'm
complaint.
going to tell you, response doesn't necessarily mean an answer. It can mean several things.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what they are right now.
All right, cool.
So you can answer, which basically says, I deny everything. And usually in an answer, you have what's called an affirmative defense. Statute of limitations. It wasn't in right. Whatever the technical argument is.
Wasn't
it's
a
statute of-
contract, whatever.
Whatever it is, it's called an affirmative defense. Latches, it took you too long. It doesn't constitute a cause of action. There's a list of probably 30 or 40 affirmative defenses that you can apply whenever you have them.
Right.
And so you end up either filing an answer, which sets the case what they call at issue.
Are Judge, why don't you take a drink of water real quick?
I'm doing it.
I know. I'm telling you. Yeah, you just. I don't want you to lose your voice here. Yeah, I mean, when I got served, and it seems like I've been served a few times for small claims cases, and by the way, I've won every one of them. They've all been, gone my way. But it seems like the sheriff's department always knocks on your door, or it was at my studio one time at like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
Why? Why did they do it so damn early? That's what I want to know.
Why? Because that's the best time they're going to find you home.
Find you home, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. It was crazy. I'm like, damn, man.
But they don't make the service a lot of times. They make 3 attempts.
Yeah.
And then they go to what they call substituted service.
Okay.
The reason you use substituted service is because you can't serve the person personally. Now, people used to say to me, well, what if the guy comes to the door and I don't want to take it from him?
Yeah, don't want to answer.
Well, let's assume you answer the door and you say, get away from me. You've got...
Right, you got cooties.
Some disease I don't want. You could drop it at your foot.
Really?
Good enough.
Wow.
All you have to do is give notice.
Right.
That's notice. So you can either answer, which sets the case what they call at issue. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Now both sides have answered. Or you can file what's called a demurrer, DEMURRER, or what's called a motion to strike. These are things that you can do in response. A motion to strike generally is somebody's alleging punitive damages against you in a contract case.
Yeah.
Generally, in contract cases, there are no punitive damages. The punitive damages generally relate only to what they call tort cases. Negligence, battery, trespass, a variety of things that constitute a tort. It's called a tort, a civil wrong.
Okay.
And you move to strike the punitive damages because they're not appropriate. The judge will then read the papers. The way it works is first you get the motion, and you read the motion, and you say, well, that sounds pretty good. Then you read the opposition because the other side has a right to oppose it. You go, oh, that sounds pretty good. And the original moving party gets a reply. They try to save what they can for the reply because there's no answer to the reply. You got the last word. That's why you have oral argument.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, courts will say, no. You knew what you had, and you needed to put it into your original paper so the other side had a chance to respond.
Ah, right.
These are things that are raised by good lawyers.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I wouldn't have answered it this way. I would have known that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, a demurrer basically attacks the complaint. It says the complaint is deficient. It's either not understandable, it's ambiguous, It contains material that even if you won, you would lose the case. All of those things are in the demurrer. You file an opposition to the demurrer, they get a reply. The court then decides whether you're going to get past it. If the court sustains the demurrer, it means the other side has to amend the complaint or the case is over. If the court overrules the demurrer, you have to now file an answer. Usually in UD cases, I gave him 5 minutes. I gave him 5 days to file an answer.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
Did you ever meet a lawyer that was for the people? Someone who had the best interests of the people at heart? Herb Dodell has been a lawyer for more than 50 years and has been a Superior Court judge for 9 years, having presided over more than 9,000 cases. In this show, he will reveal the secrets of how things really work in the legal system, so you can maximize your position and benefit most when you're in trouble and need someone on your side to simplify the process for you. For more information, email the judge at askjudgeherb@gmail.com. That's askjudgeherb@gmail.com.
Okay, much of what I'm talking about today is pretty technical. Yeah. If you narrow it down, it's just a complaint and an answer or an attempt to attack the complaint and things of that nature.
But you're giving good information because, I mean, some of the stuff I didn't know. I mean, and I've been in a few lawsuits.
Well, you know, about a demurrer, for example, and I put this in the book. I personally don't believe too much in demurrers unless you have an absolute dead-bang winner. Because to me, that's just a way for the defense firm to run up the bill. The big problem with a demurrer is if it's sustained, it's usually sustained with leave to amend, meaning you're telling the plaintiff who filed the complaint, you made some mistakes.
Yeah.
What do you think the plaintiff does now that the court has sustained it with leave to amend? They amend. They take out the mistakes.
Of course.
They fix it. And you can say anything you want because the rule is, it's very important, this rule is very important. For purposes of a demurrer, everything is deemed to be true. Everything. Even if it's not.
Really? So, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's true or not?
Doesn't make any difference.
That's crazy.
That's how you can get past the demurrer.
Wow.
It's what they call you plead around it. You plead, if you know there's a 2-year statute, you can say within the last 2 years, such and such and such and such. Now you've gotten past it.
Yeah. That's
it takes a skill to do this, by the way.
I mean, I never even heard of a demurrer before you brought it up today. I mean,
I think to me that's just a dishonest way of making money. Personal opinion.
Yeah.
Every now and again there's one. I think when I was sitting in unlawful detainer cases, I would say I probably read a couple of hundred demurrers over the years. And I don't remember granting a single one.
Why do lawyers do this? I mean, why would they? Time. They just want more time. You're buying more time, and then you're charging the client more money.
Yeah, both.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, because what you do, even in unlawful detainer cases, if you file a demurrer, the court sets it maybe a month down the road. Normally, you have 5 days to answer. Now you've bought all this additional time. There's going to be a hearing. The court's going to make a ruling. If I would sustain the demurrer, or if I would overrule the demurrer, actually.
Right.
If I would overrule the demurrer, I would give the other party 5 days to answer. So they bought some time. But I figured it out, what they were doing. I wasn't the first one to figure it out, by the way. What I would do is I wouldn't put the demurrer out that far. The landlord would come in and would make a request to have the demurrer advanced. It's called advanced.
Okay.
I would advance it on the calendar. I'd hear the demurrer right then and there, and if it was overruled, they go to trial right on the spot.
That sounds fair.
They were not going to buy 2 months of free time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what we do. And I would sit in chambers and read these things, and they were always basically the same junk.
Don't the lawyers know that they can't get away with this stuff, or they're just trying to make money off their clients? That's a total ripoff.
That's why I say in the book, when you're interviewing a lawyer, ask him or her, what are your plans here? What are you planning on doing? Here's the complaint. I just got served.
Or how much money it's going to cost me. Can you ask them that?
You can ask that, but the answer usually is I can't tell yet. It's too soon.
Well, how many? Come on.
But that's not necessarily the right answer. You got a pretty good idea. You read the complaint, you know what the case is about.
Please, they know. They've done it. They've done it.
So let's get past the responsive pleading. This is called a responsive pleading. Or you can file what's called a cross complaint. By the way, you can file a cross complaint in small claims court, but you cannot do it in unlawful detainer court. Cannot.
That's interesting.
You have to file a separate lawsuit in another court.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
To me, I always thought that was a little silly.
It is.
But it's the rule.
Okay.
But in small claims court, you can file a cross complaint for $10,010.
I felt like doing that
and
to
move
Baldy.
it. But what you do, what it accomplishes, is it gets it out of small claims court.
Oh, really?
Sure. It's now above the jurisdictional limit.
Okay. Because the other ones, he's suing you for 10, and then I can sue him for 10, and that's out of.
No. If you're suing him for 10, it's a different 10.
But it's still small claims.
Everything up to 10,000.
Up to 10,000, but I can go 10,000 and 10.
If you want to sue somebody for $20,000,
right,
you can't do it in small claims.
Right.
You can do it. You can do it. And I have a story in the book, true story. A guy had a $50,000 claim, and he was in small claims court. And I said to the guy, "What are you doing here?" I said, it was against the Federal Express.
Okay.
And they lost a package from us. I can't remember all the details. And I said, you have to remit everything over $10,000. I think it was back further when it was even less than $10,000.
Why would he do that?
He had the right answer.
What is it?
He says, if I'd sued him for $50,000, I'm going to be in what they call unlimited jurisdiction court. I'm looking at 2 years. Years ago, we used to have so much backlog. It took 5 years to get to trial. 5 years.
Damn.
We would sit with beepers in the courthouse waiting for the beep to go off. We got a case to go.
Right.
So if you're looking at 2 years down the road, and you're looking at a lawyer on the other side now, because now you can have a lawyer if you're suing in another court.
Right.
And they're going to drive you crazy with the interrogatories and discovery and things like that. It may take you forever to get it, and you have to hire your own lawyer. So maybe it's better to take the 10 grand, walk away, and have nobody there to really fight with you.
But why wouldn't he just sue for 10,000 instead of 50,000? I don't get.
Well, it ultimately makes no difference.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, why did he pick that? And it's sort of bizarre. I don't know. Anyways, he knows he can only get 10 grand though, right?
And he got his 10 grand.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. You ruled for him. Huh?
I did.
Okay.
Well, he had a good case. He had a
Okay.
solid case. He just was looking at it from a practical standpoint.
I dig it.
And when you're in a lawsuit, practicality really is important. One of the first things you have to ask yourself if you're a litigant, whether you're suing somebody or you're being sued, is how much is it going to cost me? First question you want to ask yourself, what's it going to cost me? If you're the defendant and you have no insurance to cover it, you're going to be borrowing the money to defend your case. You got to hire somebody to represent you, or you can represent yourself.
Yeah.
And that older phrase goes along, he who hires himself as a lawyer is a fool for a client. And that's really, many times, makes a lot of sense. I saw a lot of what they call pro pers, meaning in pro persona, meaning by yourself, representing yourself.
Yeah.
And in landlord-tenant courts, I used to see pro pers all the time.
I bet.
They couldn't afford the lawyers.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do a good job. And I told the story about the NBA basketball player that had a $7 million house, and they were evicting him. And I was the judge on the case.
I remember hearing about this.
I never told you that story?
No, you never told us the story.
This is a big-time guy. Major famous guy.
Really?
I didn't recognize him. I was to tell you, the bailiff told me who it was. But I said, how
long ago was this?
Maybe 3 years.
3 years ago?
Yeah, maybe.
Are you kidding me?
He's a major player. I'm talking about a serious guy.
I'm gonna have to look him up.
Anyway, he came in without a lawyer, and I said to him, he filed something in response.
They were kicking him out of the
house.
Okay.
Foreclosed on his house. So I said, get yourself a lawyer. He didn't have one. I said, you might. I can't give you legal advice. I'm not permitted to do that. Because if I give legal advice to one side, I'm picking sides. Can't do that. So I said, look, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. Go home. Either get a lawyer or figure out a way to do this. You might have a defense. Might.
Right.
Came back 2 weeks later. This was in Torrance. Came back a couple of weeks later. No real change. The bank was there with their 2 lawyers and their suits on and the whole deal. And there was nothing I could do for this guy. I wanted to. He just ran out of money. He bought the $7 million house, and he stopped playing ball, and
They
Things
foreclosed?
changed. They foreclosed, throwing them out.
Wow.
I signed the order throwing them out.
My God.
I felt badly about doing it, I must tell you.
Oh,
I really did feel badly.
Big time
about
basketball player.
Big, major player.
And he was that broke?
He was that broke. Apparently he was that broke. I don't know, but he waited for me after I got out of court.
Uh-oh.
And he was a big, tall guy.
Oh, no, well, of course. NBA. Judge.
Seriously tall guy.
I bet.
And, I'm not exactly a giant myself. So there I'm up to his waist. And I'm walking out the door, heading to the parking lot. We have a little parking spaces and stuff.
Yeah.
And he walked over to me and he wanted to talk to me. I said, I can't talk to you. He said, not unless the other side is here. I can't. I'm not permitted to have what they call ex-party communications. So he wanted to talk to me. I said, let me just tell you something. You seem like a very nice man. You needed to get a lawyer. I made the ruling today. There's a clock. I can't tell you what that clock says or how long, but you still have time. Go find yourself somebody. Maybe they can do something for you. Maybe you have a defense, maybe not. I can't tell you that. But he never did. I never heard anything, and I guess that was the end of that. So now the pleading stages, I was talking about the pleading stages, you can file a cross-complaint. In fact, sometimes it's a real tactical decision that you have to make as a trial lawyer. It's all strategy,
He could have done that probably, right?
Not in that no, not in that court.
Not in that court, okay.
But what he could have done is he could have filed an action in another court and have asked that judge in the other court to bring this case up to that court and consolidate them. There's a procedure for doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I used to do it when people would come in and say, I don't want to defend this UD case right now because I have a defense and I'm filing it. I have an action filed down the hall in another case. And I said, well, get that judge to agree, and I won't make any decisions at all. I'll just boost it up to that court. And you can do that sometimes. I used to require them to put up the rent in the meantime.
Yeah.
So you didn't get a free ride while you just filed some piece of paper down the hall. But cross complaints are a risk because now you are the party with the burden of proof. You have to prove everything in your cross complaint. You become the plaintiff on your cross complaint. And then they can file a counter cross complaint.
Oh, my God.
This can go on. Look, there are ingenious lawyers out there who see this as the ka-ching. I call it the ka-ching defense.
Ka-ching. The
money is rolling right on in.
Oh, my Lord.
And they ask you pretty much how much money you got. You're going to be able to survive this case. But if you're the defendant and you just got sued and there's no insurance, you better be looking about taking a second out on your mortgage. It's a very serious and tremendously expensive. It costs $430 to file a complaint. I think it's $430 to file a complaint. And if you're the defendant and you didn't do a thing wrong, you got to pay for a first appearance fee as a defendant. A couple of $100, I think it is. Although I must tell you, those people out there who are going to get involved here, there's something called a fee waiver. A fee waiver, in certain courts, it's an FAM 18, I think is what it's called. A judge, generally, will sit down and look at your financial condition. And if it's apparent that you're needy, we call it informa pauperis. That's the Latin of it.
You're throwing a lot of words out today.
I want to show you how much I read. And you can get a fee waiver.
Oh, that's cool. What about small claims court? How much is to file in small claims court?
I don't know how much.
I think it's
$40.
Like $40. Yeah.
You can get a fee waiver in small claims court too.
Oh, really?
You're supposed to give them the money back if you win.
Okay.
They never do. I asked the clerk one time, do you ever get any of this money back? He says, never. Because it's all very nice, but it doesn't work.
Oh, wow.
Next week, we're going to talk about discovery. I call it the Christopher Columbus phase of the lawsuit. That's where the real money is spent.
Nice.
And nice for the lawyers.
That's what I'm saying.
But a big hassle, big, major hassle. I once had 300,000 pages in a case.
Oh, my God. That's
you got to
crazy.
sit down and read all that stuff?
Please. I can't even read 3 pages, let alone 30 or 300,000.
That's why you have paralegals.
There you go. All right, Judge.
So that's it for today, eh?
That was a great job.
I threw the A in because I'm half Canadian.
Hey. It was great. Very informative. Listen, if you want to ask the judge any questions, just hit him up on email, askjudgeherb@gmail.com, and get his book From the Trench to the Bench, now available on Amazon. And also check out his YouTube videos. He's got about 20, 25 videos, and they're very cool and very informative. And they're short and informative. All right, Judge, we'll see you next week.
Yes, indeed.
All right, cool.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now. Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away.
A great radio show may sound like it's easy to make, but if you've ever tried, you know that's not the case. With the time spent engineering, producing, and archiving, you end up losing focus on what really matters, the content of your show. If you put your show on the Gab Radio Network, you'll be able to leave all those technical worries to our staff of highly trained engineers and producers. And all you need to do is have fun and put on a great show. Want to find out more? Send an email over to sales@gabradionetwork.com. That's sales@gabradionetwork.com.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now. Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away.
A great radio show may sound like it's easy to make, but if you've ever tried, you know that's not the case. With the time spent engineering, producing, and archiving, you end up losing focus on what really matters, the content of your show. If you put your show on the Gab Radio Network, you'll be able to leave all those technical worries to our staff of highly trained engineers and producers. And all you need to do is have fun and put on a great show. Want to find out more? Send an email over to sales@gabradionetwork.com. That's sales@gabradionetwork.com.
The following show is produced and distributed by the Gab Radio Network.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, here at Long Beach Lenny. Today's show is brought to you by InvestTrustDeeds.com. InvestTrustDeeds.com. Give them a call for all your real estate and financial needs. In fact, call and ask about their high rates of return on investment. Call Corrine at 702-214-4700, 702-214-4700. That's Corrine. Ask her about high rates of return on investment, 702-214-4700, or visit them at InvestTrustDeeds.com. Make sure you tell them the circus sent you. Also, a big welcome to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio and our NBC Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And Lenny, we have an in-studio guest right off the top, and that would be Chris. Chris works for the Las Vegas 51s at the AAA New York Mets. Let's give her an enormous round of applause. Good. How you doing today, Chris? How's everything today?
Everything's wonderful. I'm here. What
Great.
else could I want?
Where are you from?
I'm from close to London in England.
Right.
And we don't have baseball. Well, they do have baseball there now, but they're not really terribly familiar with it. It's more cricket-oriented.
Right.
Which I am not going to explain here.
Well, Lenny and I have talked a little bit about cricket. I like the idea you could score 600 runs in an inning, but that's a whole nother discussion. So you're also a big baseball fan, aren't you?
Totally. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Who are you a fan of?
Cardinals, because I love horses.
Right. That would be the St. Louis Cardinals, Cub fan, in case you're tuning in and listening. And that's for all of our friends over in Chicagoland. We have a Cardinal fan in the house.
Third place, fourth place? I don't know. What are they?
Yeah, no, they're in third place. They're in third place. They're just a couple of games behind your second place Chicago Cubs.
We happen to have won a few more pennants than you.
And a few more World Series as well.
A few more. At the moment, we might be in a slight slump, but we will come roaring back because we have the horses behind us. And we also have a couple of people who can hit and a couple of people who can throw the ball a little bit. And, of course, there's a couple of people in Chicago that I like. I mean, I have to like Bryant because I live in Las Vegas. So
so that's it. So Lenny, she's a fair weather Chris Bryant fan.
Very fair weather, but he's kind of handsome too.
Chris has got me entirely confused right now. Number one, she's talking about they have horses, and horses is in polo, I believe. It has nothing to do with baseball. So horses are not allowed. Horses are not allowed on the field. Another thing, Chris, is that Sal happens to not correct you on something, and might I go ahead and do that for him? The proper etiquette here in the circus is that we don't connect ourselves as a we. Because we, Sal, don't play on the team. Now, do we?
No, but she's a guest. She's a guest. She can play on the team.
It doesn't matter in the circus.
Don't worry about it.
You got to conform to the rules of the studio here, of the program. So we are not a we, it is they. You know how many times, Chris, I've been told this? Too many to count.
I would be very happy to ride a Clydesdale. And they actually did have Clydesdales on Cashman Field. And they did gallop around the field with the beer barrels and everything, and the little dog with the little points on him. And they were there, so don't say you don't have horses on the field, because I was there. I actually have a photo of me with the Clydesdales. So I hope you don't mind being corrected.
Nice! I like when somebody corrects Lenny. All right.
Nay, I say. Nay on that. I want to know back in jolly old England, what is the most prestigious arena for any type of a sporting event that people said, oh, I went to that particular arena or field. If I was a visitor, Chris, where would I say back in America, hey, when I was in England, I went to a sporting event at this particular venue? And I have
Wembley,
stats now.
Wembley, of course.
Hey, Wembley was just purchased by the guy from the Jags. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to probably move over, and we'll have our first NFL team over in London.
That's where actually some of the football players, they have played football. American football, not real football, American football.
Not real football.
Well, you know, they play it with their feet in England. Here they play it with their arms, and that's perfectly fine. But it's kind of a weird thing to call it football when you're throwing. It's more like rugby.
Well, what do you suggest we call it?
American. American football.
But we're here in the United States, so therefore, if it's American football, is it North American, Central American, South American?
No, they're all American, aren't they?
Right, that's the problem. But you see, once you go south of our border, it's football again.
It's real football.
So
and
they
do have Real.
You're confusing the audience. Lenny, you better jump in and rescue her.
I'm telling you, right now, I mean, first we went to horses, and now we're talking about football not being football. So what am I? Am I being re-educated on my American football? Okay, so we're not going to call it that. We're just going to call it, bruiser
NFL?
ball. We can't,
AFL?
National.
NFL?
No, we can't call it football league. The national.
The foot thing.
Yeah, we've got to take out the foot. So what are we going to be doing about that, Chris? Now you've got the Raider fans all confused. The fans here in football.
I love the Raider fans. I think
the
it's
Raider
going to be
fans.
great.
They're a band of.
Loves the Raider fans.
Well, I don't know any better. I'm from England. What do I know? The first American football game I went to was in New Orleans. It was Arkansas versus Alabama, and it was a bowl game. And I had just come down from Toronto, and it was like minus 20 degrees in Toronto. Drove all the way down New Year's Eve before the snowstorm, got down to New Orleans, and everybody's there. I thought I was going to have a classy hotel. There wasn't one. I landed up at the YMCA, which was very nice, but not quite what I had planned on.
Were you singing the song YMCA?
Yeah. So everybody said, why is it so busy? They said, well, we're all going to the bowl game. And I said, what's a bowl game? Thinking of a bowl. But, it wasn't.
Finger bowls.
Yeah, that was more. So they said, oh, it's this it's a college game. So I said, well, I want to go. So I went. And they said, everybody laughed. There were 4 of us, 4 ladies. And as we pulled in the parking lot, 4 gentlemen came running out, and they said, would you like tickets? And we said, yes. They said, we're doctors. We got called away, so we got tickets on the halfway line, fifth row, and it was quite nice.
All right. Well, that's a great story, and guess what? We're going to have to pick that up on the other side. We're coming up to commercial break, and I know Lenny, she kind of threw us both a curveball, but I like the fact that it came from a Cardinals fan. and we just happen to have Cub fan running the board. Folks, we'll be back in just a few minutes right here at the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away.
A great radio show may sound like it's easy to make, but if you've ever tried, you know that's not the case. With the time spent engineering, producing, and archiving, you end up losing focus on what really matters, the content of your show. If you put your show on the Gab Radio Network, you'll be able to leave all those technical worries to our staff of highly trained engineers and producers. And all you need to do is have fun and put on a great show. Want to find out more? Send an email over to sales@gabradionetwork.com. That's sales@gabradionetwork.com.
Your business is now operating when something is happening that has never happened before in the history of the marketplace. Right now, the age of the customer. Until recently, you've run your business with 10,000-year-old age of the seller practices based on having control of customer relationships. But the original age is being replaced by the age of the customer, which is creating forces that are conveying control from your business to your customers. If your efforts aren't producing the same results as before, you might think it's an execution problem, but it's probably that you're going to market with age of the seller practices when your customers have age of the customer expectations. My new book, The Age of the Customer, Prepare for the Moment of Relevance, will help you make the transition from old practices to new ones that will allow you to meet these new customer expectations. Find out more about my ideas and how to buy the book at ageofthecustomer.com. This is Jim Blassingame. Thanks for listening.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Long Beach Lenny here with the Ringmaster Sal, and this segment is brought to you by the American Business Trust Company, specializing in startup consulting, sales and marketing, corporate strategy, and investment capital. Visit them at abtrustco.com, that is ABTRUSTCO.com, or give them a call at 657-600. 1-876, that number again, 657-600. 1-876 for all your business needs, and tell them the circus sent you. Okay, and a big welcome to all of our iHeartRadio and NBC Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And folks, if you want to call into the Sports Circus right now, please go ahead and give us a call, 844-305-7800. Lines are open at 844-305-7800. And Sal, we have from across the ocean, we have a special guest in studio. That would be Chris from jolly old England, who works for the Area 51's, the New York Mets, AAA affiliate out there in Lost Wages.
That's right. We'll give Chris another big round of applause. As she's holding her head like, oh, don't do that. Great to have you with us, Chris. Listen, so Lenny, let's jump into a little bit of Dodger baseball. And I know how much you love the Dodgers, being an Angels fan, from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Orange County, that play behind the orange curtain next to the Santa Ana riverbed, and they have a rock pile, of course, in center field, with a garden hose that looks like it's supposed to be a waterfall, and they shoot bottle rockets from it. So it's the longest name in baseball, one of the most disappointing bullpens in baseball. But let's turn our attention to the other side of sunny Southern California's LA Basin. Let's talk about the Dodgers hitting 7 solo shots against those New York Mets. 7 solo shots tied the record for the most such home runs by a team in a single game in the modern era since 1900. And that would be, well, actually, that encompasses Bucky's time, because Colonel Bucky was born in, I think, 1854. I'm not really sure. Nonetheless, the last team to do it before the Dodgers was the Chicago White Sox on June 25th, 2016, against the Toronto Blue Jays. So therefore, the White Sox do make the media, unfortunately just not with a win, because they only have maybe 26 wins. But how about 7 home runs, Lenny, in one game? That's maddening.
And why would I even be upset about that? I'm glad that you brought this up, because there is no one on this show that is a bigger advocate than the long ball, high-scoring games and the home run going here, there, and everywhere out of the park. I love that. I love that the Dodgers went ahead and exploded for 7 home runs. Do I like it that they won? No. I don't like that they won. It went into 11 innings, but look at that. 7 home runs, 7 dingers. If you're a fan and you're sitting in those stands, you definitely got your money and a half's worth in that game, because you're sitting there just watching the ball fly out all over the park, not including the Mets home runs, which they had a few as well. So you probably had about 10 home runs sitting there doing an 11-inning game. What an exciting game. Much, much better than if it were 1-0 in 11 innings. That would have been a jolly old snooze fest.
Well, look at it this way. The 7 home runs were certainly hits. And then you had, in fact, I believe it was the catcher that was here for the Las Vegas 51s. His name was Plawecki, if I'm not mistaken. He hit a 3-run shot in the 9th, which looked like possibly the game winner. But no, here come the Dodgers, roaring back. That's what they do. And the Dodgers find themselves just a couple of games out of first place, unlike your Angels that are 11 out of first place.
Those Angels are sad right now, Sal. It is true.
They're sick of the join up.
I will say this though. The Dodgers themselves, look, they've got a dogfight. They definitely have a dogfight in the National League West. This isn't going to be a cakewalk. This isn't going to be 18 wins. What it's going to be, Sal, is it's going to be pretty tough. Pretty tough, Sal, for, let's say, the gazillion-dollar man coming off the disabled list on Saturday that could only last 50 pitches and 3 innings before getting yanked out of the game. I wouldn't say, Sal, that Clayton Kershaw is too well recovered in the back area right now. And I am predicting right now, put it on the show tape. There you have it. Let's mark it. I think that Clayton Kershaw, within another month, will be down on the DL once again and probably looking at some kind of a back surgery, because you and other fans that just want to ride this guy like a horse to the glue factory do not care about his well-being, for him to sit out for one season, one simple season, for him to rest and get better. A 3-time Cy Young Award winner deserves better than you going ahead and just squeezing the life out of him until he is just put on the compost pile.
That's right, kid. I'm squeezing every ounce of life. For $220 million, you get your ass out there and pitch. I don't care if you've got a broken arm. You get out there. I don't give a damn. Look at all the money he's taken, and look at what the cost back to the consumer is. So eventually the consumer's paying for it. So they need their money's worth. I don't care if he's hobbled and if he's out there with a one-legged individual. Who cares? Get out there, go do your thing, go earn your biscuits, and get back on the bench. So just the other day, the reason I'm bringing this up is we had our 51s. They were playing the Reno Aces, which is the Arizona Diamondbacks AAA club. And now the Reno Aces have a guy on their team, Lenny, that is the brother of someone you may be familiar with. And that would be, C.J. Cron, right? The terrible mistake that the Angels made by dealing him off to Tampa Bay, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so his younger brother, Kevin Cron, plays for those Reno Aces. Of course, we have to talk about it here because KSHP 1400, home of your Arizona Diamondbacks, that would be the first place Diamondbacks. I actually did an interview with him, and here's the interview. Turn my volume up. Give me 1 second here, folks. It's live. Anything can happen. That's what happens here on the circus. You never know. Okay, here it is.
This is Sal Tozzolino with the Sports Circus here at Cashman Field, and I'm here with Kevin Cron from the Reno Aces. How you doing today?
Doing good.
All right, just had a very interesting game, to say the least. But
when
I saw you walk up there the first time, I said, man, that is a man amongst boys, because you are no small character. I mean, look.
Lenny, this guy is an absolute truck, and I mean he is big. Cron's not that big as far his brother, but this guy's huge.
You grew up in Placentia. You played in Ahwatukee, right? Mm-hmm. So the home team kind of look in that direction. Now playing with the D-backs, how do you feel about that versus maybe if it would have been the Angels, maybe with Salt Lake Bees?
Yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks have been nothing but like a great opportunity for me. And obviously, I was born in Placentia, but I was raised in Arizona. I moved there at a really young age, and I grew up a Diamondbacks fan. I got to watch them, win their World Series in what was it, '98, I think it was. And I grew up a big Diamondbacks fan, and all the way through high school. And I was talking to the Diamondbacks out of high school maybe for the draft, and that was something that was always really special to me. It was just maybe even the glimmer of a hope to be able to play for the Diamondbacks. So it was really cool when that happened out of college, and especially having my dad in the organization is really cool. And but it's been really special for me to play for the Diamondbacks and grow as a baseball player with that organization.
Right. So think about Big Bro and yourself. Was there that competition growing up? I mean, who was better? Who was bigger? Who was stronger?
I think I was probably bigger at every stage of our lives up until this point too. But it was definitely a lot of just friendly competition between the both of us. Growing up, going to the yard with our dad every day. I'm 5, he's 8, all the way through me being 12 and him 15. We're just shagging fly balls during BP with our dad, and having competitions on who can catch the most balls, and just little things like that. Growing up, almost having each other as our best friends because we're gone from our hometown for so long, traveling with my dad. So being able to have my brother with me through that was really cool. And then even on till now, being able to both be in the same business, I guess you could say.
Kind of the really family business now, right?
Absolutely. So that's been really cool for all three of us, especially, and even into my mom and my wife and sister and everybody. It's really cool to have everybody kind of united under one game, I guess you could say.
So we broadcast the Sports Circus on 1400 KSHP here in Las Vegas, and of course that's home for the D-backs right here in town. Of course, our home team, of course, being the 51s. Is there anything you want to say to the people here in Vegas to get everybody listening to D-backs baseball instead of supporting our 51s?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about baseball is it's just you find a lot of just pure baseball fans more so than team fans, even to some extent. And I think it's just really cool when you come out to minor league parks like this and you find a big collection of Diamondbacks fans, whether it be here in Las Vegas or even in some places like Salt Lake or Fresno. It's cool to see how far a fan base can stretch, and I think the Diamondbacks have been building that for the years in the past, and I think it's just continuing to grow. And like you said, Las Vegas is almost closer to the Diamondbacks than any other team, so there's definitely a good following, and I think it's really cool to be able to see that every night.
The Reno Aces moved down, but you're here to Vegas. But my guess is, even if it is the Dodgers, we're still going to support what the D-backs are doing here, because let's face it, we don't really have a home team.
Yeah.
And right now, as I see it, because we're the only station, KSHP 1400, that covers any baseball team here for the most part. You guys are our home team.
Yeah.
All right, so say hello to everybody, and anyone you want to say hi to, or
hi everybody,
or say they suck.
Say
hey, 51s, you guys suck or what?
No, it's
got
been,
any friends
it's
over
been
there?
cool. It's been, yeah, I got some buddies. You know, you always run into buddies when you're playing in different teams, but no, it's been cool. This is my first experience here in Vegas in the Cashman Field, and like you said, it's a family environment. It's really close to the action. You don't really see a park like this, so it's really cool to play here, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of days.
Yeah, you're right on top of the action here.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. So when are you going up to the big club? Come on,
if
man.
it was up to me, I'd be there right now, but it's not up to me, and you just got to keep going through your day-to-day and do what you need to do. And hopefully it'll happen at some point, and just, wait for that.
All right, folks, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation.